Well, here I am, trying to get a little scenery going on here. Yeah. Now, in case you didn't know, but I'm sure you probably do, we had a really nice response. Now you gotta clean this lens. I'll tell you, I got to stop slobbering on my lens. Anyway, so we're at 999. Look at the camera, right? I'm always, yeah, 999 subscribers. It's been a long journey. I've got more. Uh, I've got more videos than subscribers, so that probably tells you how hard I work for this. Um, and we're down here. It's a beautiful spring, late spring, early summer. It's not quite summer yet, but anyway, it's a beautiful day in Virginia, Central Virginia. We've got the Frog Pond over here, and Clark Mountain. If you notice that in the background is Clark Mountain. Let me come down just a little bit more. There we go. Let me zoom in on that. Anyway, yeah. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community rules. What are those rules? Oh, don't say anything naughty. I won't. I'll be a good boy, I promise. Let's see if I can get a focus here. Anyway, I'm here all by myself right now, which is how I like it. I like privacy. However, this is going down in history as the 999 to 1K. Now, I haven't figured out what am I going to do as a celebration of 1,000 subscribers. And I want to thank everybody that a lot of people have just sort of trusted me and put the subscribe button. Have a few people bow out now and then. I think I'm a little bit more than they bargained for. Our motto is history and today are equally important. My original saying was there's more that unites us than divides us. And I was always torn between that. I really like that. Again, there's more that unites us than divides us. I believe that. But I also think that history is a way for us to come together. It expands our understanding of our human condition, but also it is a way for us to look at what happened before us, so that maybe we can better understand our own walk. I mean, it's all been done before. Maybe we didn't have an iPhone back in 1607 at Jamestown, but they had their challenges. Everybody does. A lot of people that left Europe to come here were leaving oppression. God knows, in all countries, it's society improves in general terms, and then it gets complicated and less redemptive in others. So that's just the ebb and flow. But yep, 999. So let me look at this right now. Now, this is probably the first live video I've done. We've got one viewer up there. Hello, one viewer. Don't forget to make a comment like, what are you doing? But anyway, we did a video here just recently, and that was the short. If you go to our shorts, it's called, it's a funny thing, you learn from your audience. I called it, what did I call it? Happy Frog Day. And then somebody chimed in and said, oh yeah, happy Forg, F-O-R-G. It's kind of a backhanded sort of chit-chat about the misspelling of frog and all things frogs, and happy Forg Day. Anyway, I changed the title and hashtagged Forg, the misspelling of frog, and the video just jumped up from 400 to it's almost 7,000 now. So it's a curious thing, this YouTube algorithm. I can't make sense of it. But as I said earlier, we're here in Virginia, and want to take some time to sort of talk about some of the videos that we've done. Now, a lot of you that have sort of dropped in and dropped out and enjoyed some of them, some of the videos. There's, let me go to the channel here. Your channel, that would be me. Michaela Smith, thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Michaela. She was number 999. Michaela. Yeah, there we go. Michaela. Anyway, Michaela Smith, thank you. And Silently Silent. I know who you are. I know your secret. And Prophet Studies was another one 16 hours ago. I think they were in India. Interesting. I have subscribers all over the world, which is really neat. I'm big in India, I'm told. At least in my own mind. But no, it's nice. It's nice that, you know, I think maybe some of the American experience is interesting to people that might see it from an outside observer's point of view. Tony Who, H-O-O exclamation, or H-O-O-L, Tony Hool. And then Thomas Watts Jr. You probably, if you've watched me much, you'll notice that we had a lot of history. I'm big into the Watts. Now, Thomas Watts Jr., I don't know if you're part of the Watts, but one of the first lands patented out here in Orange County, 1726, I believe, which is really early for out here. It wasn't even Orange County by then, but it was Richard Watts and his son and Thomas Watts, and a lot of Watts over here. And in fact, there's a discussion about that original patent. The Watts left fairly quick, and could have been because the land over there went barren pretty fast, or when the senior Watts passed away, the kids all kind of pulled up anchor and went out to greener pastures, quite literally. Anyway, Oscar, Urbina, J.S., J.M., Dana, Michael Mastis, Troy Wieldlich, David Colbert, just Micus, Legit, Deadshot 95, thank you, Zachary Petty, Tommaso Maruzzo, Tanya Ladbrook. Look, I might be clever at times, but most of the times I struggle with the English language, or any other language for that matter. But anyway, let's see, where are we at now? We are still... Yep, there's our frog. Anyway, I got distracted. What I wanted to say was, I have some playlists. If you go to playlists, I've tried, because I do a lot of on-location shots on the Roadside Historian, and there's a lot of knowledge in those collectively, and after a while you start to find themes in them. And recently I've got 9 videos on a playlist called America and Lafayette. And I've got a video down in North Carolina where there's a Lafayette, one up in northeastern Culpeper, up along the Rappahannock, which is a really interesting. That's kind of the earliest exploration up that Rappahannock, even going back to 1600s. I've got a video on that, a bunch of Lafayette, and that's always an interesting theme. I've got Cooking with Lidl. That's another playlist where basically we like Lidl, good values, and these are not sophisticated recipes. They're just, you know, making sense out of what you've got to work with. Maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not. Fredericksburg, Virginia's past. I've got 8 videos on that. That's germane to Fredericksburg. The Orange County Chamber of Commerce Centennial. We did a 100-year celebration, hence the phrase centennial. And we had some nice speakers on that. Folks that had been there originally from the first 100 years of the Chamber of Commerce for Orange. So Mr. Reynolds gave a really good speech, very spirited and a really good share. Then we've got Camera Corner, where obviously if I'm doing YouTube videos, I use cameras sometimes. A lot of times it's on the phones because that's the easiest. But also sometimes you'll find it that I'll use some of my cameras and then upload from those when the time permits. We dealt with a few people. I've got 4 videos on who are your famous ancestors. I want to revisit that because I've got some friends out there that have started doing some of their DNA and their research, and I think it'd be fun to get some interviews of folks who have famous ancestors. I'm trying to remember a fellow's name. Randy Thompson. He's been digging into it. If you're out there, hi Randy. You'll see it sooner or later. Yeah, if anybody wants to get some interviews on talking about who their famous ancestors, essentially, the Motley Patriot really is, if it's done right, it's a public access TV for everybody. You know, I've done the work to try to get people to come here. Sometimes some of the videos that I do are a public service. Sometimes they're just dumb because they get clicks and likes. Woohoo, like the frog video. Who doesn't like frogs? But yeah, I got subscribers from that. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but YouTube, I get zero credit if you're not a signed in member of YouTube. So if I've got 1,000 subscribers, I could have 10,000 people that are checking it out on a regular occasion, mainly because that's just how the system works. But a lot of people don't want to share that personal information. I respect that. Then I've got 13 videos in Citizens of Orange, Virginia. That's another playlist. Founding Mothers of America. Now that's something that I think I really hope to dig into more. In fact, just recently, Thomas Jefferson's mother, the school, the education there, George Washington's mom, you could go down the list. These moms, that came out into the wilderness, and there was no Lidl. And, they're roughing it. And these moms are coming out. So the Founding Mothers of America, I always think that's an important one. Another thing, Camera Gal works with the blind a lot. And I've got a playlist called Advocacy for the Blind. And I plan on going to Stanton here to do another video on that. Because there's the first school for the blind in Virginia is in Stanton. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Then I've got Governor Barber's War of 1812. There's 3 videos on that, and what's interesting is we talk about George Washington and Lafayette. Well, Governor Barber, I don't know if you know, but the War of 1812, we lost more Americans in the War of 1812 than we did in the Revolutionary War. And that was a revisit to England, and Washington had tried to set the peace, I guess, with England with the Jay Treaty. I always fuss about that. And then we're right back at with the Jay Treaty in 1796. We're right back at war. What is that? 16 years later, hot and heavy with England. So that didn't play out so well. But anyway, that is what it is. Then I've got Eat Cheap and Be Happy, 2 videos on that. It's just sometimes I go down a path and it works or it doesn't. I don't know. Another thing, I've got 11 videos in a playlist called American Iron. And that's me trying to dig into the early 17th century. I like to say 1600s, but early 17th century, 18th century, the industrialization of America with iron. You read about the Principio Company. It was George Washington's father. And you've got Spotswood here in Orange. He was manufacturing iron against the rules of the crown, but then when the crown needed iron, it goes, oh, well, I've got some right here. So better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Big fan of forgiveness over permission sometimes. We've got George Washington's America, 29 videos in that playlist. So the theme on these tends to be content driven. So it's worth dropping in and checking them out sometimes. You can always skip through them. We've also got Orange County, Virginia elections. I've got 15 videos. That's kind of like a public service, public access, where we talk about local candidates. I'll interview them, and we'll talk about politics and talk about really less about diatribing on politics and actually more about talking about content and policy whenever possible. We've done a number of interviews there. Looking forward to doing some more interviews. Might have an interview coming up with our Senator Bryce Reeves coming up. We've talked about that a bit. That's on the radar, and talk about what's going on in the Senate. I know, when you're divided in a Senate, it's hard to get things done, but the state of Virginia still needs its business handled. So, everybody tries to do the best they can. It's never easy. And again, there's more that unites us than divides us. Back to that. You just got to get past your bones of contention. I've got the Netflix Depp versus Heard missing footage. I've got 26 videos of the Johnny Depp trial, and it's a hoot. If you want some just fun, kind of silly escapist stuff, it's just huge crowds. Camera Girl's the one who was the force behind that one, and there's interviews of a lot of folks that were at the Johnny Depp trial. It was a very interesting moment in time because you had a lot of people there for different reasons. Originally, there was a little bit of the Me Too, and then very quickly you found that Johnny Depp kind of got the short end of the stick on that. And during the trial, I remember, heck, even Megyn Kelly came out with some statements, and I'm like, I don't know who's advising Megyn, but you need to fire your staff and get your head on straight. she's come around. She's been doing pretty good lately. But so then I've got called the UFO Files. Actually went to Capitol Hill and interviewed a filmmaker. Heck, even Sean Ryan was there. I didn't know who Sean Ryan was at the time. And camera girl's going like, look, it's Sean Ryan. I'm like, whatever. He looks like an Oompa Loompa at the time. He was dressed like Men in Black. He's not that tall a guy. He doesn't look intimidating, but looks are deceiving because he will dispatch you with extreme prejudice. Probably going to be gunning for me now as it is for just calling him an Oompa Loompa. Anyway, oh well, Sean Ryan, Oompa Loompa. Now what? Now what, huh? I got Navy SEAL friends too, you know. I don't know if they'll go to bat for me against you, but still, sounds good anyway. Anyway, UFO Files. We've got 14 videos. I interviewed the journalist from the New York Times who had written the article on the Tic Tacs and a lot of the Pentagon Papers on UFO. I interviewed the pilot, Leto, the pilot who has his UFO. So there's some really good interviews in there. To be honest, I still don't know why the UFO videos didn't get much traction, which was kind of a surprise because those are original content and good interviews, really, of very interesting people. If I look at that playlist, I've got some silly stuff. Chris Leto. I've got a little bit of conversation about the MUFON folks. Went to a MUFON meeting right after it. It's funny. If you were Al Qaeda, I don't think you want to roll in on a MUFON meeting. Pretty sure most of the people in there are intelligence contractors that are packing, but that's just me. Interview, Chris Leto. I've got Daniel Sheehan and Steve Bassett rolling through. There was a red carpet walk for them. I've got Randall Nickerson interview. That's really nice. Randall's a really interesting guy. He's a filmmaker. Then I've got my own very specific footage of the Intelligence Committee when they came out with Burkett and I'm trying to remember the gal's name, Sharp Lady. She's been boots on the ground for sure. And then we've got Leslie Kean interview on the UFO, and then some random sort of engagement. Yep, there's Tim doing the walk. Jeremy Corbell. That's funny. He's walking down and I go, Jeremy. He goes, hey. He didn't know who the hell I was, but I sort of sold it, so he kind of acknowledged it. What's up, Motley Patriot? Anyway, it was kind of funny. But George Knapp and all of that. And I didn't know George Knapp at the time. I wish I would have. I know, you try to do your research, but not much of a UFO guy. But it turns out I was in a room full of UFO royalty. Anyway, moving on back from that list. So that's the UFO Files. I think that's one worth watching, honestly. I think you'd get a kick out of it. Let's see. Historic tour of Virginia Beach. Now, last year, Camera Gal was doing a big instructional event in Virginia Beach for a summer class series. And she was there for a week. And I did a deep dive on, I've got 28 videos that I did over the course of about a week and change on all the old colonial houses of Virginia Beach area, and then sort of headed toward Kemp's Landing down, headed toward North Carolina, and there were battles down there. But I've got the Lynnhaven Weishart Boosh House, very interesting, lovely architecture, very old homes. I've got walkarounds. That's a 9-minute video. I've got the Kempsville, Kemp's Landing port. There was a courthouse there at one time. I did the meeting of the 3 commanders, the Admiral de Grasse, all before Cornwallis got his lunch handed to him. And that's some roadside historian. If you're ever in Virginia Beach and you want to check out a really cool historical library, go to the Chesapeake Library. It's the content in there is incredible. So if you're a researcher and you really want to dig into some history, I highly recommend that you go to the Chesapeake Historical Library. Blew me away. Then also old Princess Anne Eastern Shore Chapel. That's very old church. If you dig into that, only 12 views on one of the coolest old churches in and around Virginia Beach. I haven't pushed them. You know, but those are great historical dives. Chesapeake of 1585 First Nation encounter. This is a cool one. This one, First Nation encounter of the Roanoke expedition of the Chesapeake Indians. That was a roadside sign hiding behind some bushes. That was a really cool discovery. You wouldn't know about it. 1600 Eastern Shore Chapel controversy about Puritans. So one of the things about the Witch Duck Road, you know, as a kid driving to the beach, always going, witch duck, that duck, witch duck, that duck, no, that duck, witch duck. Anyway, duck as in ducking. We were thinking witch duck as in quack, quack. But actually, it was ducking of witches. And there was a moment in time in Virginia Beach where there was some strong puritanical influence. And they had ducked this woman who survived, who this Puritan ridiculousness. Turns out she was a midwife, and the argument goes that a lot of the other wives didn't like her because she owned land. She was an attractive, tall, attractive lady. And the other gentlemen of the area were fond of this, you know, comely lady, as you would say, I think in those terms. But interesting sort of delve into that history. Then we've got the Pleasant Hall, tells two historical stories. Yeah, that's a beautiful home. Whitehurst House of 1793. That's a lovely home. It's a 5-minute video. Walk around, walk on the land. Berry Plantation House of 1735. That's a 15-minute video, roughly. Really nice video. We've got 200 views on that. Thorogood House. Beautiful, beautiful place. Only 25 views. So if you want to do a tour of Virginia Beach, all the historical houses, and a lot of them have been taken off the list of historical houses. So a lot of them, they turn them into doctors' offices and things like that because, you know, history's racist, I guess. I don't know. But you know, these are old structures. You've got the Adam Thorogood indentured servant finds. This is interesting. Adam Thorogood.
The Motley Patriot here. The Motley Patriot. Accept no substitutes. Only the original Motley Patriot. I'm not too far from Cape Hope, where the first landing was. I've got the official first landing T-shirt. And here's a very interesting piece of signage. It's one of the oldest dated references I've seen so far.
So you get the idea. That's on Adam Thorogood. It's a very old reference. Let's look at.
Here stood the house of Adam Thorogood, 1604 to 1640, who arrived in Virginia as an indentured servant in 1621. After completing his service, Thorogood became a leading citizen in Lower Norfolk County. In 1635, he received 5,350 acres of land for bringing 105 English settlers to Virginia, including himself, his wife Sarah. The couple settled in Lynn Haven Parish, which Thorogood named after his home in England, King's Lynn, and he founded it.
So you get the idea. You know, that's early 1600s. So it's some of the first settlers. And here's someone who came here as an indentured servant with, you know, nothing but his hands and his industriousness. And, you know, some people just carved it out of a rock, as my dad would say. But that's Lynn Haven. Let's see. But anyway, there's a lot of videos in that one. Whitehurst, Berry Plantation House, Thorogood House, Adam Thorogood, yeah, Adam Keeling House. That's a lovely place. Grace White Sherwood, the Witch of Pungo. Yeah, that was a big one, the Witch of Pungo. So you'll appreciate that one. And yeah, so you've got all those. Go check that list out. It's called the Historic Tour of Virginia Beach. A lot of content there. Let's see what else we have. Citizens. Okay, by the time I go to it, it scrolls up. But anyway, I've got the iron furnace clips. A lot of 11 videos on the iron furnace clips. That's all the different areas around Virginia. I've found references to iron furnaces. You've got them over there in near Aquia. If you start digging into the late 1600s, there was actually a furnace above Richmond in the 1600s. So iron was something that they all, you know, you needed iron to make tools. Needed tools, you know, that was a big thing. And a lot of times they call it bog iron, where basically where water percolates up, and typically through limestone, and it deposits over, you know, thousands and thousands of years, iron from the acidity of the soil, and it percolates up and deposits all that iron. So what you do is you fire up these huge furnaces where you just get chop down all the trees, because there's so many trees, turn it into charcoal, build a what they could build beehive kiln. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but you blast furnace this stuff, and you can make your own iron. And so, you know, with iron you have steel, with steel you have tools, with tools you can survive. So that was a big thing. Talk about being industrious. And then from iron furnace clips, and in that, one of the videos in that is a still standing huge blast furnace at Shannondale, and it's privately owned, and the gentleman actually let me climb on top of it, and there's pictures looking down the top of this humongous blast furnace that George Washington had stayed at one time. So that was the first large blast furnace, as I understand, west of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So, and it's still there, and very interesting. But we also get into the Baptist faith in early, you know, something that's another thing I want to get into is some more dives into the early faith, because there's so many different disciplines of Christianity, and with religious freedom, you know, you had the Church of England, but you had, you know, the first instance where Lutherans were given a pass. They wrote into law that the Lutherans did not have to go to the Church of England because they were minors and they brought their skills for Spotswood. So they wrote into a pass. So anyway, but without getting too much into it, but there's all this intellectual content that's hiding in all of this. And I don't write a lot of this stuff. I just find it and just sort of regurgitate it. So 9 times out of 10, this all stuff is pretty well vetted and pretty accurate. And so it has, the conflicts have been worked out. I've got 5 videos on when the blind were in DC doing advocacy and lobbying Capitol Hill for digital accessibility. There's some interviews of one guy who's an old rock and roll guy, him and his dog, and 5 interviews up there. That's called Blind Citizens Advocacy. That's a playlist that I think folks would really enjoy. And again, if you're just dialing in, I'm going over the playlist, and there is some organization. I've got 808 videos that I've done over the course of a couple of years, which is not bad. And a lot of it is good original content. Whether you like it or not, well, you know, that's up to you. But if you go to the playlist, it's a way for you to kind of go through and scan. Then I've got 6 videos of POTUS 45. Most of that is me down in West Palm Beach, and some of them at Mar-a-Lago. It's hard to get into Mar-a-Lago and do videos. I was there because with the organization that had hired the building out, so we had that authority. And then I've got 14 videos of MAGA the Christmas Elf. It's just a tongue-in-cheek sort of reference to, it's kind of like a Harry Potter, delving into a little Harry Potter elf. What do they call them? House elf. Sort of like if there was an elf that I sort of morphed the idea of a house elf, but being in the White House, and that it was the first elf that came to America. And that's kind of the backstory on that. And he, you know, his first master, and also the first guy that gave him a sock that set him free was George Washington. He was his first master. And then the idea is MAGA the Christmas Elf. Really, it's just a house elf, but he's a house elf for America. So it's kind of silly, but there is a backstory to it. There's even a song, MAGA the Christmas Elf. Anyway, wrote that on the plane flying down south. But there's some fun in there. There's some nice crowd engagement. I'm up in D.C., and it's all light and entertaining. There's some footage in there of Mar-a-Lago in the ballroom. It's beautiful in there. You get a sense of that. But it's all just fun and games. It's not meant to be taken seriously. I'm not trying to start a new cult of MAGA the Christmas Elf or overthrow the government. You know, it's not MAGA the January 6th elf. Okay, for all you Trump haters out there. But then what time is it? That was a little. It's only 4 videos, but that's just some quick videos on it's time to do this or time to do that, kind of references, tricks of the trade, whatever that trade may be. I've got 7 videos from Virginia 2022 midterms. I've got 26 videos and the playlist called Handyman's Hangout. And that's some of the different stuff that we talked about with little handyman tricks. Like, for example, I built a shed. I built my own trusses. I showed people how I built those trusses from scratch. So instead of spending, $150 a truss, I've got, $15 in a truss, 10 cents on the dollar, how to make your own trusses. I also showed how to do old colonial window replacements in vinyl. I got a lot of compliments on that, how to fix your lawnmower, how to fix that stuff. It's a mixed bag there. Also, I got a ton of views on a recent video on how to fix an electrical system failure on a Prius, because I had to fix an electrical system on a Prius. Turned out all this money that was spent, it was just a bolt that was rusted on the primary ground from the battery in the back. So something so simple. So that stuff's worth money. I've got 17 videos in Military Corner, which basically is anytime I do a recording that's pertinent to military folks, either things that they're involved in, or I'm trying to help the military with some volunteer work, or want to create some awareness. I'm always looking for content on that. That's what that 17 videos in that. I've got 46 videos on Civil War content. Never really was much of a Civil War guy per se. It's been covered and done so many times, but in Orange County, Spotsylvania County, it's almost a disservice to not at least touch base on it. So yeah, I touch base. I got 46 videos in it. 8 videos on profiles in leadership, which just sort of random, some ideas about leadership, shining examples of leadership in the community or opportunities to take a leadership role. I've got some Black culture, African American culture, whatever your preference term is. So when I find things that highlight some of the African American or Black people, anyway, people of color, I kind of highlight some really cool moments. Like there's one where I got the best haircut that I've had in ages at a Black barbershop in Culpeper. I met the first African American, that's his phrase, game warden in Virginia, and he just came out. I was up there getting my boat registered, and he came out. It's a wonderful interview. He talks about super team guy, super positive vibe, nothing angry, just a really good example of somebody who's doing their part to be a good human. Really nice. Then science and technology, there's like 18 videos on that. So Native American culture, everybody knows that's something that's interesting to me. We have the Manahoics out here in kind of a diaspora of Manahoics in Orange County, but a lot of them stayed around. They're starting to find that out. So I try to look for content on that. If I go to a powwow or something, I'll put that in there. Roadside Historian, 139 videos on Roadside Historian. There's a lot of historical content in there. It's all vetted content. It's all signage that's been done by, proper historians. So you could almost do a school for kids on that one, on the Roadside Historian, and have kids, read them. That's kind of what the thought was. If I can find these roadside signs of history, I can do videos on them, and then you can use them as a resource for homeschooling. That was the thought, and it sort of gets people talking. You could go to any one of those videos. Always good to look at them first to make sure I don't do something inappropriate. I'm usually pretty good at that. No Tourette syndrome in my videos. I got one on pets and critters, some fun raccoons and stuff. Psychology and behavior, I've got only one video on that. It's almost a tongue-in-cheek because the Mrs. Camera Girl nailed me on something, and that got a ton of play. Local businesses to love. I've got 44 videos on local businesses to love, and just highlighting places to eat or shop, or people in the community that are, instead of just sending all your money up the giant corporate food chain, I'm doing restaurant reviews, I'm doing local businesses, just anything to sort of help lift up our economic engine for local businesses. I shop local, it makes a difference. And take cash, because if you pay cash at a local business, they don't have to pay that 3%. And that means that 3%, every time you use a card, 3% of that money gets taken out of that transaction. And there's a thing that shows how a $20 disappears really. $20 bill in a local economy in credit or debit disappears really fast, whereas as cash, it keeps circulating. It doesn't lose its value. TMP benchmarks, just a few things about some moments in time that I just felt like, here's a benchmark. Staff profiles only one. That's something that hadn't really developed yet. I've got some music videos on production and tricks, and one of my videos on JBL sound system, a bunch of stuff like that. Music, I've done a lot of production. Glamorous shenanigans. That's a mixed bag. 29 videos of glamorous shenanigans. It's all just super silly stuff. Super silly, as you would say. Travel destinations, I've got 49 videos in that. Foodie, I've got 95 foodie videos on the foodie playlist. So there's a lot of stuff, like we were up in Maryland at Battlefield up in Maryland. It'll come to me. And there's this hugely delicious ice cream store. So I did a video on that ice cream store up there. Just a lot of that. Historic structures, old buildings that I've come across. I walk around old buildings. 66 videos on that. That's just sort of like a nice opportunity to walk around and look at old buildings. Church Corner. Church Corner, a lot of old churches, a lot of old stories about old churches stuff, anything relative to faith and church and religion. I've got one in memory of a fellow who passed away here in Orange. This really old house, 24 videos talking about really old houses and, kind of what happens with that. Health Corner, 11 videos on that, just stuff about health. Planes, trains, and automobiles, 16 of them. Phil Bell knows about that. There's some good train videos in that. Anything to do with planes, trains, and automobiles, it's just kind of a catch-all. I was up in Seattle. There's an old all-wheel drive lumber train up there, or coal train. Very interesting. Historian's Corner, got an interview of Frank Walker in there, some other things. That's not like roadside historian. Historian's Corner is a little bit more in-depth and kind of a different bent other than a sign. Politics and shenanigans, 64 of those. Just all kinds of fun political stuff. That might not be everybody's jams, but it's separated out and you can pick and choose. Farmer's Corner, 2 videos. First Families of Virginia in today's Orange County. So when I come across some really old historical referencing to early families, early settlers, the early stuff, first folks out here, first houses, first settlements, first footprints in the frontier of Orange County back when it was a frontier. There's 58 videos on that. So there's some walk-arounds of some very old properties. Just a whole mixed bag. Then I've got 18 videos, The Ghost of Orange County, Virginia, and more. That's fun. Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going for the 1,000. I really appreciate that. You could unsubscribe and wait till somebody else does it and then subscribe again, but I suppose that'd be cheating, but what can I say? But Ghost of Orange County. Journalism in Small Town America. 3 videos on that. And just basically when they pulled the newspaper out of Orange County and shut it down and just basically sent us crappy articles from Charlottesville and then kind of paid lip service to our local news source. And there's been some pushback against that, but we had talked about creating a monthly newspaper and a printing, but I've really been focused on the video stuff. It's a lot easier. It's a more modern form. Being tied to a paper, which is not a bad idea. We had talked about, but I there's no way I can handle that myself. But if anybody's looking to create I've got places that'll let me put out like a quarterly Motley Patriot Publishing, which I'd like to do actually. Pick some good things and put some substance out there that is influential in the community dialogue. I think that'd be a really effective, and I think it'd be useful. I think a lot of people would appreciate it, kind of like a local trader, talking about local, there's plenty of people that might want to locally advertise on it. But yeah, we had talked about journalism and got a lot of good compliments on those videos. And then the last playlist is Save Orange Art. That's me going at the ridiculous, extreme, woke agenda that popped up in Orange, where basically these folks are trying to evolve us. I was in theater. I have family members that, swing from the other side of the bat. the base. I don't have a problem with what people do in their own personal time. I do have a problem when folks sort of take liberties with other people's kids on how they want to educate them. I think you should be responsible for your kids, and I think you should have say in how your kids are affected by curriculum. I think you should have some input. I don't think it should be adversarial between parents and schools, and I think everyone should have agency. I mean, that's a term you hear. I was denied agency. Well, I don't think anybody should be denied agency, and if you try to deny agency to parents, you're on the wrong side of history. That's my opinion. But that's it. If you go to the Motley Patriot playlist, that's always good. Now, I will say one thing. Any of you that are subscribed, I will tell you this: it's always good if you're in the shop and you're doing some work and you want just some, instead of listening to radio in the background, you could always go to one of my playlists and hit play all and let it play in the background while you're doing stuff, and you'll see some neat history. You'll get it all in. That's my advice: is go to a playlist and then just play the playlist. That'll bring my numbers count up, and it'll help the numbers, and that's why I created the playlist, so you can kind of go back and peruse. And if anybody has some ideas for video content, especially local history or local human interest, any of that stuff, I am always looking for content, because I have a responsibility now that I have an audience to try to provide a place for important things to be discussed. So if for some reason there's some things that you think need to be discussed that are important to the community, you know, I've got a lot of Facebook groups that I've created to try to allow people, like I've got a Facebook group called Helping Out Orange County. Let me look that one up. Anyway, Helping Orange County Schools. You can go to my Facebook page, Paul Royce Cook, and see a lot of that. And there's a lot of Facebook groups there. And I do share my videos back and forth to Facebook. And Facebook is reasonably cooperative with letting these videos emulate. Not real cooperative, but occasionally they'll send it back. I don't know what the AI algorithm does with it, but anybody, if you share a video, it's funny when I get a lot of shares on a video, because I'll go through my metrics and it'll go, oh, 1,200 people shared this video, and there's no way for me to know who shared it. There's no way for me to understand what that meant. I don't see where it was shared to, who it was shared by. I don't even know where my influences are. So basically with YouTube, I am basically standing blind in a black room in the bottom of a black hole swinging. So if I don't get feedback on these videos of what's liked and what I don't like, I just keep throwing it at the wall and see what happens, and hopefully good things will come from it. But I don't know if I'm at 1,000 yet, but I am at 999, and I wonder if I'm going to hit 1,000 yet. Let's see. Maybe not. Come on, you can do it. View channel. 999. I'm sitting here blabbing my mouth for 45 minutes. I about burnt my battery out, and I'm still holding at 999. So to you folks out there, I just want to let you know, when I hit 1,000, I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've got to do something to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. Are you going to subscribe, Charlotte? No, you don't have a YouTube account, you bonehead. But yeah, I'm at 999 and holding steady. And yep, look at that. I got a round circle around the Motley Patriot. He's live. Look at him. He's live. How did that happen? How did they let him go live? Well, I did go live, and I'm sitting here live with 999 subscribers, waiting for one subscriber. If you got a kid and your kid is 2, grab your kid and open up a YouTube account and put him on the Roadside Historian. Any of you folks out there, if you've got friends that are homeschoolers, go to the History Channel. You can build a curriculum. These are roadside history markers. This is content. I've got one that I did all the way out in the Northern Neck. There's an area where George, what was his name? where the school, the original school, where James Madison was taught by a Scottish Reformation church preacher. And you get into the early education of our founding fathers, and you know, they built the school out of a rock, not of Iraq or Iraq, but a rock. They built schools in the middle of nowhere. They had very educated founding fathers out here. So if you've got any friends, if you go to the Roadside Historian page, you can go to Church Corner. There's some videos on some of the founding fathers, the iron of Spotswood and all. And even if you don't play the video for your kids because you're worried they might look at me and go, "Mama, he scares me. I'm frightened of this person." You know, well, you can, it's content. You can always sort of cliff note that stuff, and maybe, you know, take a trip out there yourself. If you show the video to your kids and go, "Look, there's a roadside sign here, and it's out there on the way to King's Dominion, or it's out there on the way to Virginia Beach, or it's out there on the way to Jamestown." I did a bunch of videos out there on the road out, Route 3 and Route 2 headed out to Jamestown. On the Route 2 out of Fredericksburg, on the left is where Spotswood's first post office was. We're talking early 1700s. Alexander Spotswood, Colonel Spotswood, was the first postmaster of Virginia, and the first post office over there down Route 2. Doesn't look like much, but you know, these are interesting moments that you can share with kids. So I'm definitely a big fan of teaching kids history in a way that's organic, that's interesting, and dry, and in a book, and it's been written by professors for professors. It's mundane at best, if not just absolutely boring. Not everybody is a linear thinker. Well, here's the numbers, and it's been this and that. It's like, make it fun. Kids love fun, silly. I taught music to kids for 7 years, and I did. My parents and the kids, they all loved me, and the reason was I was more of a coach, and you always try to meet the students where they're at. You can't just bark at them and dictate to them. That's kind of what tends to happen in conventional curriculum management, top-down management, no authority, no agency, as you say, from the bottom up. But let these kids find these things and discover them. These roadside signs are really interesting. Sometimes they're hard to stop because there's a lot of these pull-offs are disappearing. So I don't think these signs are going to be around for a long time. That was another reason for doing these. You know, when they take down statues, what's to stop them from taking down, you know, signs? Like just the other day, I was in Shadwell, coming back from a farm on the other side of Charlottesville. And Shadwell isn't much to look at when you come through it down 250. It really isn't. It looks like, you know, it just, bleh. And then you take the 250 catty corner to Keswick and all, whatever road that is, and it starts to look nice along, and you start to get a sense of it. But right where I found those signs, in the middle of a very unkempt area on 250, it's the birthplace of Thomas Jefferson. It's where his father was, where Edgewood was. It's just all this neat stuff. And he was the Jefferson, his dad was a cartographer and a map maker. And the Fry Jefferson map, which was like one of the most substantial maps to be done before Revolution, I mean, early on, I mean, you're talking early 1700s, the Jefferson Fry map. This is Thomas Jefferson's dad, who knew this stuff. And so these roadside signs, they add pieces to a tapestry of history. So like I said, if you know anybody that homeschools and you want to get into American history, these are great ways to do it. We're at 49 minutes and 59 seconds, so we're at 50 minutes. I'm about to lose battery here, and looks like I'm going to have to sign off at 999. Well, whoever decides to be 1,000 out there, whoever you get to be 1,000, make sure to make a comment on this video and let us know. If not, I want to know who number 1,000 is. Chances are it's not uncommon for me to have somebody go away, see a video, or somebody shuts down their account, or somebody decides that the Motley Patriot is unsavory. Who knows? But find a friend, put him in a headlock. You better subscribe to my buddy over here. If you don't, you're a bonehead. But yeah, if you've got some ideas about how maybe, oh, look at that. We got 2 people watching. I'm going to watch myself on my own video. See, oh, there we are. New pin chat. Got it. Look at that. I can actually talk to myself now. Oh, there's a delay, which is kind of fun. So let's do this. Ben Compton. Wish I could be number 1,000, but I've been sub for quite a while. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ben Compton. Anyone else out there want to comment? We got 3 people right now. Let's see. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Oh, I thought it was telling me to guard my private parts. Well, that had me nervous. So anybody else want to comment on there? Here we go. Who likes the Virginia Beach playlist? Put that out there. The Motley Patriot says, who likes the Virginia Beach playlist? Has anyone there looked at the Virginia Beach playlist at all? We got 3 people watching. What do you have to say? As he would say, what say you? Kind of digging into the old Lord of the Rings. This is kind of cool. So you appreciate this. I'm using a phone to chat, and I've got the camera over here to talk. So we've got 3 subscribers. I wonder if I can find out who they are so I can call them out. Anyway, maybe I should, I'll tell you what I can do. I can go to my Facebook, but that's on this other phone, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, anyway, 3 subscribers, top messages. Yep, that's it. Live chat. Well, this is kind of cool. The live chat is fun. This is the first time I've actually done this. So for you folks that are signed in, thank you very much. I appreciate you signing in. If you've got something to say it. If you don't, spray it. Anyway, that's from middle school silliness. Yep, so the Virginia Beach playlist, highly recommend that. That's one you want to put on, and you don't even need to listen to the words on that one. If you just put that on and look at the visuals, there's some really nice scenery on that one, because you've got, as I said, I'm driving all around Virginia Beach over the course of a week, and called the Virginia Beach Historical Society, asked them for some names, got permission to walk around one very old home that's on the original inland waterway, which was the first, when you come around that Virginia Beach, around the military base, there's an outlet in there, and it was the first body of water that they could come in away from the ocean and go inland and go up into fresh water, and basically have boats. You'd bring your ship in, and then you'd rowboat up into a plantation house. So a lot of that shows up on those videos. I actually walked back into some of those outlets, did a lot of research with local folks, asked some advice. So the Virginia Beach tour, go to the playlist, give it a check it out. I promise you'll like that. So that's kind of cool. Oh, look at that. There's Eric Prince, CIA corruption, killer drones, and government surveillance. Oh, Eric Prince, really? Isn't Eric Prince Blackwater? Anyway, I'm not going to get distracted by that. Get distracted by cows as it is. But yeah, we're definitely live, and let's see. So the last video we did good with, we got Captain Jack Goulet saves Thomas Jefferson and the Constitution. So I was coming back from purchasing a table saw on Facebook Marketplace the other day, and I like Marketplace. Found an old guy that collects table saws, brought 2 of them back, got them both running. Paid $100 for 2 really nice Makita table saws. I knew I could fix them. But I came across back at Cuckoo, where Alan Jackson had that concert, which is where if you go through Mineral down 522, and then it takes a left, and then it takes a right again, there's Cuckoo right there, which was the beginning of that whole earthquake where that fault was. And Captain Jack Goulet saves Thomas Jefferson and the Constitution. Well, back when the the guy who left America, cheated America, and went on to Benedict Arnold when he was trying to rout out the founding fathers. They were riding out to go break up the original founding fathers and capture them all in Charlottesville, where they were holding their governance meetings during the Revolution. And this gentleman rode his horse and left at midnight to warn Thomas Jefferson and the rest of the government leaders of the fledgling founding fathers that Benedict Arnold was coming. So they were able to escape and survive to fight another day. So that little roadside marker was hiding behind a bunch of trees. You'd never see it from the road. And I went around like, wait a minute, what's that beautiful thing? And there it is, hiding behind the bushes. So, you know, I'm out there doing this, looking for interesting stuff. So anyway, it's sunset in Unionville. Folks, thank you for all that you've done. I just want to say thanks to everybody. And if you want to go back and scan through this, but as I said, take a look at those playlists. Go to a playlist and hit play, and just if nothing else for the visual content, you'll find that there's a lot of really interesting scenery and a lot of beautiful places to marvel at. Anyway, the Motley Patriot, I'm over here. Thank you so much for being Motley Patriot people. God bless, and keep the home fires burning. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it, brother.